course, it's always possible that this desire we have just isn't God's will for us. However, at other times, God is going to open that door, but it just doesn't look that way at first. Here are 5 signs God is actually going to open that door, even though it doesn't appear that way right now. Number 1, sometimes a closed door is actually an invitation from God to reject the old gatekeepers and to open that door yourself. Oftentimes we get into the habit of asking people for permission to do things that we don't need their permission to do. For example, maybe you want to be an author. For years, everyone has told us we can't publish a book unless a publisher accepts our work. However, with new technology and social media, it's entirely possible to publish your own book and have your own audience to sell it to. Maybe you want to be married and you feel like the proper way to meet someone is at church. Perhaps, however, God will lead you to try online dating. Or maybe your boss keeps rejecting your application for promotion. Perhaps God is leading you to apply for that same promotion, but at a completely different company. The point is, sometimes God is leading you to reject those old gatekeepers that have been rejecting you. Don't assume you need someone's permission to do what you feel led to do. Sometimes their no is really just God's invitation to you to find a better way without their assistance. Revelation 3:8, behold, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. Number 2, sometimes a closed door is not a denial, but rather it's just a delay meant to develop your character so that you can properly handle the fulfillment of your desire. When our children were really little, my wife and I would put up baby gates in front of the staircases so that they wouldn't fall down. But as our children matured and they could safely go down the stairs, we then removed those baby gates. Likewise, sometimes God isn't closing a door forever. Sometimes God is just closing that door for now so you can have the time you need to develop. Once you can handle the blessing that is behind that door, oftentimes that is when God will open that door. Number 3, sometimes the door isn't actually closed, but the open door just looks different than you thought it would. Expectations are oftentimes limiting beliefs in camouflage. A limiting belief is a false conviction that is stopping you from doing something that you could do. When you expect something to happen in a certain way, you often overlook the other possible ways God might be trying to accomplish that desire in your life. If you expected your relationship with the one to be stress-free and no problems, but you're in a relationship with someone where there is a lot of stress and there are some problems, but these issues are actually developing you both and preparing you for marriage, then this may actually be an open door, not a closed door, because Again, God's using these trials for your good. Or maybe you expected your first business to be a huge success and just be exactly what you wanted it to be, but it ends up failing. However, maybe that experience is exactly what you needed so that the next time you start a business, it can actually succeed. An expectation is a belief about how a particular good thing is going to happen to you. When you only expect a good thing to happen to you in one certain way, you are inadvertently closing your eyes to all the other possible ways in which that good thing could come into your life. When we think we know the future, oftentimes we're just missing God's blessings in the present. Always remember the truth that only God really knows the future. Number 4, sometimes that door isn't actually closed for good, but it's just taking someone extra time to open that door after they heard you knock. If you go to someone's house and you knock on the door, and inside that house, they're in the shower, you're not going to know why they're not coming to the door. They're not going to hear the knock. You're just going to be standing out there thinking someone's just ignoring you or they're not home. But if you were to wait long enough and you kept knocking, eventually that person would turn the shower off, hear your knock, and, put on some clothes and go answer the door. Likewise, sometimes our actions just take a little bit longer to produce the effects that we were hoping they would produce. So it might feel like your efforts to get to know someone have failed, but maybe that person is just a slow processor, or they're nervous and they just need some extra time to process your efforts and then return their interest. Or maybe it feels like your manager isn't noticing all your faithful work, your your diligent efforts, all your skill, but maybe your manager's just waiting for a new position to open up so that he could then give you that promotion. It might feel like no customers want to buy this product that you've just created, but maybe it's a seasonal product and you need to wait for the right season for that product to get sold as you hoped it would sell. Sometimes that door really is closed, but at other times it's wise to just give it a little bit more time to make sure that the door really is closed, because sometimes it just takes a little bit more time than you thought it would. And number 5, sometimes that door is closed because God is using it to funnel you to an easier entrance. So imagine you were invited to a small gathering, and this gathering was meeting in one room in a large building, but you didn't know exactly which room you were supposed to go to. You would actually find that room a lot faster if all the other doors in that building were locked. Because if they were all open, you'd have to go through each one, check each room, go down all the different passageways that open door led to. But if only one door was open and all the other doors were locked, you would find your intended destination much faster. Sometimes God shuts a door to protect us from wasting time. Sometimes a closed door in your life is just an invitation from God for you to find an entrance that will lead to where you want to go in a much faster way. Giving this video a thumbs up helps it spread to other people who might need to see it. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com, and until next time, God bless.